All right, let's dive into one of the absolute strangest and most fascinating texts to come out of the ancient world. We're talking about a book of wisdom so profound it was quoted by the greatest sages, but at the same time, so bizarre that some of those same sages said it should be hidden away forever. And that's really the heart of the puzzle here, isn't it? The Book of Ben Sira. It's an ancient text that walks this incredible tightrope between being sacred wisdom on one hand and what some rabbis basically called a waste of time on the other. So, which one is it? So, here's how we're going to unravel this thing. First, we'll look at the book itself and its mysterious status. Then, you're not going to believe this, we'll get into the author's shocking origin story. After that, we'll jump into the huge debate it caused, check out some of the wild legends about this boy genius, and finally, we'll try to solve the endearing riddle he left behind. Okay, so what's the deal with this book? What makes it so interesting is its unique place in history. It was written way back in the 2nd century BCE, and people clearly loved it. It was translated into Latin, Yiddish, Persian, Arabic, the whole shebang. And yet, there was this very serious argument about whether you should even be allowed to read it. Some even said it should be put in a geniza, which is like a special storage room for sacred books that are too worn out to be used. So, what is it exactly? Well, the Book of Ben Sira, sometimes it's called Ecclesiasticus, it's a collection of ethical teachings, a lot like the Book of Proverbs in the Bible. But, as you're about to see, that's kind of where the similarities end. You really can't understand this book without understanding the guy who wrote it. And his origin story is, hands down, one of the most incredible tales you'll ever hear, because it's anything but natural. So, the legend goes like this. The prophet Jeremiah is in a bathhouse, and he's forced against his will to, well, produce seed. Sometime later, his own daughter goes into that exact same bathhouse. And just from bathing in that water with no human contact at all, she conceives a child. That child, born not in the way of all the earth, was Ben Sira. Think about that. He was both the son and the grandson of the prophet Jeremiah. Wild. And this story just perfectly sets the stage for who he was. They say that the second he was born, he opened his mouth and spoke to his mother, explaining his own crazy origin story to her. He apparently had a full set of teeth and was immediately asking for real food. Bring me clean bread, rich meat, and aged wine. I mean, come on. This was no ordinary baby. This was a boy genius, right from the start. So you've got this book written by a literal miracle child. You would think everybody would be all over it, right? Nope, not at all. The Talmud, the central text of Rabbinic Judaism, actually has this fascinating back and forth about whether Ben Sira's book is a source of divine wisdom or just a major distraction from serious study. And you can really see the book's split personality right here. On one side, you have these incredible gems of wisdom that even the Talmud quotes, like a good wife is a good gift, or the advice to reveal your secret to 1 in 1,000. But then, on the other side, the book is packed with what the sages called idle matters, just bizarre, folksy proverbs like, a man with a thick beard is a fool, or don't waste the skin of a fish. And this was the main argument against it. The sage, Rav Yosef, just flat out declared that reading Ben Sira was a waste of time. You know, the thinking was, we have so much essential scripture to learn, why are we messing around with these weird proverbs? He even says in Aramaic, go do something good with yourself. It's a pretty harsh burn. But here's the paradox. Even Rav Yosef, right after he says you shouldn't read the book, he immediately backtracks and says, well, okay, there are some good things in it that we can teach. The sages just couldn't ignore the valuable ethical stuff, even if it came wrapped up with some very, very strange folklore. Now, to really get why this book drove people so crazy, you have to see some of the stuff that's actually in it. These are the legends that made the book so famous and so debatable. So the legend continues. At just 1 year old, his mom takes him to school. The teacher, trying to start with the absolute basics, looks at this toddler and says, okay, kid, say Aleph. That's the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. But Ben Sira doesn't just repeat the letter. Oh no. Instead, he gives his teacher a whole proverb that starts with the letter Aleph. Al titein da'aga lilibache, which means, do not let worry enter your heart, for worry has killed many men. And then, he supposedly did this for the entire alphabet, just stunning his teacher with wisdom beyond his years. Or months, really. And it just gets weirder from there. The book is filled with answers to some of history's oddest questions. Why does a cat hate a mouse? Why doesn't a bull have hair under its nose? What's the secret to stopping a sneeze that just won't end? How did King Solomon deal with the Queen of Sheba's body hair? It's like part self-help manual, part ancient mythology, and part Ripley's Believe It or Not. It all leads up to this legendary showdown with King Nebuchadnezzar, who tries to stump the boy genius with riddles. The king asks, "How did you shave a rabbit's head so perfectly?" And Ben Sira just fires back, "With lime, same way King Solomon removed the hair from the Queen of Sheba's legs." When asked how you could kill an enemy with a food that wouldn't hurt anyone else, Ben Sira gives this chillingly specific answer. Feed him only egg yolks, no whites, no salt, for 10 days straight. So, after all of that, the miracle birth, the genius proverbs, the battle of wits, the whole debate in the Talmud, where does that leave us? What is this book, really? The thing about the book of Ben Sira is you can't just put it in a box. It's not quite holy enough to be considered scripture, but it is way too wise and important to just be dismissed as folklore. Its real power, its magic, is that it lives in this fascinating gray area, right between the sacred and the strange. In the end, maybe the book is kind of a mirror. What you see in it, profound, timeless wisdom, or just a bunch of weird old fables, it probably says as much about you as it does about the text itself. So, was it a sacred work that deserved to be saved, or a distracting collection of stories that was better off hidden? Well, that's the enduring and maybe unanswerable riddle of Ben Sira.